Hello to all my story lovers. Welcome back in Storytime channel. I'm Pallavi reading interesting stories for you. You know that we are reading The Seven Voyages of Sindbad. Today I'm reading the fourth voyage of Sindbad the Sailor. Now what happened in this voyage? Let's see. The next morning, after his prayers, the porter returned to the mansion to his host, who welcomed him warmly. After all the guests had assembled and eaten their fill, Sindbad began his story. Now, what happened in the fourth voyage? I was living a comfortable, peaceful life when a group of merchants visited me. We spoke at length of travel and trade in foreign lands. Once again, despite all the dangers and sorrows I had faced, I yearned for the excitement of a fresh voyage. I made my preparations and with these merchants set sail from Passara. Our ship moved smoothly from sea to sea and port to port. But one day a violent storm tore our sails to shreds and pitched us into the sea along with our goods. I managed somehow to stay afloat for half a day. When I felt I could swim no longer, Allah in His mercy threw near me one of the planks from the ship. I and some other merchants climbed onto it and paddling with our feet. We spent an entire day and night battling the cold waves. On the second morning, the sea cast us on the shore of an island where we lay like corpses till we had the strength to search for food. Finding many herbs, we devoured them and then slept soundly till daybreak. Somewhat refreshed by the night's rest, we explored the island and found a house that seemed inhabited. As we went towards it, a number of naked men came out and, without saying a word, caught hold of us and took us to their king. We were told to sit, and strange, unfamiliar food was served to us. My companions ate it because they were hungry, but somehow I could not, and this saved my life. No sooner had my companions eaten the strange food than they began to behave like a crazy man, stuffing their mouths with food and with coconut oil which the savages gave them to drink. I realized with a sinking heart that we had been captured by cannibals who would fatten us before they killed and ate us. While my stupefied companions grew fatter every day, I wasted away due to fear and hunger. The savages ignored me for that very reason, so much so that one day I was able to escape. I made my way down to the beach where one of the guards saw me, but realizing I was different from my companions, told me which way to go. Keeping myself alive by eating herbs and grasses, I walked for 7 days and 7 nights till I met some men gathering grains of pepper. I told them who I was and how I had escaped from the cannibals. They were amazed by my story. They fed me and took me by ship to their king on another island. He too was amazed to hear my story and made me very welcome. I was now in a thriving city, bustling with activity, where I soon began to feel at home. I noticed that the king and all his subjects rode on horseback but without any saddles. With his permission and the help of a local craftsman, I got a fine saddle made for the king. He was delighted with it and rewarded me handsomely. The king's vizier wanted a similar saddle, and I had one made for him too. Very soon, the manufacture of saddles became a regular business for me. I became very wealthy and held a high position in the king's court, so that I would never leave his kingdom. The king arranged a marriage for me with a beautiful, noble, and rich lady. We lived together very happily for many months till she was taken ill and passed away. The people of that island had a barbaric custom. Whenever a married man or woman died, the spouse was also buried, so that the couple was not separated even in death. I protested strongly that I was not a native of the island, but my protests were ignored. The dead body of my wife was carried to the side of a mountain at one end of the island. Here a large stone was removed which covered the entrance of a pit leading to a vast underground cavern. My wife's body, dressed in her finest clothes and ornaments, was pushed into this pit. Then, despite all my protest, I was lowered into it, along with a large pitcher of drinking water and 7 loaves of bread. The huge stone was replaced, leaving me alive in that dark and stinking chamber of the dead. How I cried my heart out and blamed myself for my misfortune. Why had I married a woman of this city? I had escaped from the cannibals only to suffer a fate far more abominable. Many were the days and nights I spent in that foul underground cavern, barely alive. Repeatedly, I implored merciful Allah to save me. Then one day I heard a wild beast, a wolf or a hyena, scratching and burrowing among the dead bodies in a corner of the cavern. I managed to follow it till I came upon an opening in the back of the mountain, which it seemed wild beasts had enlarged so that they could enter and feed upon the dead. Somehow I scrambled through it. By Allah's grace, I found myself on a deserted coast. Somehow I scrambled through it. Somehow I scrambled through it. By Allah's grace, I found myself on a deserted coast, breathing fresh air. Besides some bread and water, the cavern of the dead contained many jewels and other valuables, because it was the custom to bury women in all their finery. I managed to go back and collect whatever valuables and food I could. I waited on the beach till one day I saw a ship sailing by. I signaled to it frantically by waving a piece of white cloth torn from a shroud. Allah be praised, the crew of the ship spotted me and sent a boat to fetch me. They were amazed to see me. Never before in all their voyages had they seen any living creature besides wild beasts and birds on that deserted part of the island. I told them my story, leaving out the part about being buried alive, in case any of them thought I had broken a custom by escaping. They were very kind to me. They fed me and clothed me and refused to take any of the valuables I offered as payment. We sailed from sea to sea. I slowly recovered my health and my spirits. We reached Basra safely, and from there I returned to Baghdad, where my friends and family were overjoyed to see me. Once more I began to lead a comfortable existence, offering thanks to the Almighty for my safe return and generously distributing alms to those less fortunate than me. This Then, my friends, is the story of the fourth voyage. What happened on the fifth was even more amazing. That story, inshallah, I will relate to you tomorrow. Thanks for watching, guys. We will meet in the fifth voyage. Bye bye.